What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 57 of the Overview. I'm ChanManV, and joining me today is Flame. What's up, buddy?
Not much. Glad to be back.
Such a chill, man. I love the chill tone you always have, man. And ZP back again with his waving flag in the background. Actually, showing it's only a flag.
This is my true form right now. I have actually merged with the American flag. I've been so patriotic over the last week that now I am just one with the spirit of America.
Oh my God, that's almost somber style there. Very nice, very nice. I appreciate that, and we will be having a bit of campaigning and vying for your votes. At least we have a segment that's totally dedicated towards that today. So, but today, yeah, we got plenty of stuff to talk about. We didn't even go through any of the news last week, so we're going to definitely be covering that. But starting off with just Uprising officially over, getting a sense for what we thought of it and how maybe it ranks compared to the others. World Cup Committee, of course, that's going to be a big thing we're going to be talking about. And then even Apex Season 3. We've had 4 matches now. And we had one earlier this morning too, but we're only going to be talking about the ones from Friday. So don't expect any talk today about, Metathena and LW Blue. So we're going to save that for next week, given that none of us got a chance to watch them. And those of you wondering maybe where Ben is, Ben had to step out last minute. He had a little bit of emergency, so he'll be back next week, but hopefully everything is great with him. Okay, well, let's talk about Uprising, guys. So the event, the Overwatch Uprising, officially ended, and wanted to see if you guys, I don't know, what you guys get all the skins? What'd you guys think overall with the event itself?
I mean, I don't know. I'm mad that it's gone. I guess It was good from a training perspective. I mean, I did all the achievements because I'm kind of an achievement hoarder, but it was different, and I think that it was a lot of fun given like how it worked. It was hard sometimes, I think, to find people to want to grind Legendary because Legendary was so difficult, but I think that that's what made it good, was that it was so difficult. I wound up like solo queuing it for like 6 hours straight, and then eventually found like a random 3 other solo queuers that did it with me, but
wow.
I don't know if I do it again.
Wow.
There's basically what Flame is saying is that there's a point where he hit max desperation, where he wanted to play the content so badly that he would find anyone just willing to go in with him for that last
6
final
hours,
sweet hit of Overwatch Uprising. Like, that's what Flame is really arguing here.
No, it's like it was so good that I suffered through the masochism of just sitting through it. Like, it was rough. It was a rough 6 hours, but at the end of the day, I don't regret it.
That's amazing you did it with solo queuers, because I mean, every time I tried that, it was not even, we'd die like in the first couple of sections. We wouldn't even hold the point near the statue. It was so bad. So
I think the clear thing about Uprising is that it shows that Blizzard is getting a lot better at designing these sort of PvE content events for Overwatch, where I think they've been scaling up pretty quickly in terms of depth, complexity, difficulty, the things that you'd want to see from PvE content, where, of course, you had events like the Halloween event, which is sort of one of the first waves, which people really liked. But I think you can make the argument with just the different complexities to Uprising, the fact that you could bring in more than just the stock heroes and everything else. I don't know. Uprising, I feel like it definitely took things up another level, and it's something where I don't think going into it, the dev team was necessarily thinking of, let's make tons of cool PvE content, but it's got a very good reception. It's gotten clearly better over time, so for me, it just makes me wonder, when is the next bit of PvE content? The only thing I would say is sort of a bit of criticism is that this is really cool content. It'd be cool if it actually stayed around after the initial period, where maybe you don't give rewards or achievements, but I think there's people that would enjoy playing it even after it's taken away as a main spotlight.
I think eventually that's going to be the case. I think they'll add those to the arcade once they get X number under their belt. But with this PvE stuff, I have to say this is probably the most social aspect of the game that I've experienced, ever since quick play in the beta. And it was something that I felt like I could do with my friends, and I did do with my friends and my son, just trying to get the legendary and just going through that process of, shit, I wish there was a save at this point kind of option, right? So I wouldn't have to redo the whole thing. But at the same time, that's what makes these things feel so great when you achieve them, is that the fact that you have to start over every single time and do it in one take. So I really love it. I hope it continues to be, they view it as a social aspect of Overwatch, and can continue to add elements that are very conducive for that. But what do you think the next step would be for a PvE? What would you like to see them do? That's a step above Uprising.
Well, I think for me, I would like to see them sort of explore the idea of adding non-Overwatch game elements to a sense where you think about what could be something really cool. Well, what if you combined more traditional RPG elements with the Overwatch experience? Like, what about a longer campaign where you level up and there's 3 different maps and there's perhaps gear? Just like really go all out and making it a bigger PvE experience where you're still using the base Overwatch mechanics, but spice it up a bit with stuff that maybe isn't in the traditional game, but could be really cool in terms of just giving players more options. And it also, anytime you can potentially give the idea of a little bit more RNG, it's a little bit more inherently addictive because that's just how the human brain works. So if you had a small loot element to it, where you go, man, I had this great run where by round 3 I got the best item on levels 1 and 2, and it really made my McCree do all sorts of terrible things to the final boss.
I see. So some kind of buffs or random buffs that you can get. That all right. I like that. I kind of hope we see some type of real boss battle. None of these kind of lame bosses that we saw in Halloween. And then there really weren't bosses either in this. I mean, Orisa was the closest things, or at least the 3 at the end, but the OR14, sorry. Not a serious, giant dragon boss, we see in MMOs and things like that. That would be great if we could see something like that. And it was super hard and we'd have to, survive and have it be high skill. That'd be really cool.
I guess there's 2 ways I look at it. There's you could Left 4 Dead campaign style it, where you just keep making multiple ones.
Yeah.
Like that or whatever. But I think another way to do, or I kind of wanted to try, I think after playing it, was maybe make that PvP somehow. Try playing that in a PvP mode where maybe both teams have bots on their team. I don't know, you can do some crazy stuff with that, or make the objectives of King's Row that way, and then you come back for the cart. But it would be a lot of spawn changes and stuff, but I think it also shows that there's a lot more use you can make out of the maps than just what's given to them, and I think that was really cool.
I like the Left 4 Dead idea. So would you choose the little doggy bots that damage the payload, or would you choose one of the
those are actually the worst. Those are definitely the biggest gripes when it came down to the streets phase or whatever for that. But
yeah, I can see running behind the little car and then hitting it a few times and then running back and forth.
World first, Flame complaining about anything dog related in his life.
I don't even know I don't even know what to call them. Do they have names? They probably have names. I just call them the robot dogs.
Yeah, me too. I thought they were robot dogs. How about skins? You guys get all the skins?
Yeah.
I did not get all the skins. This is a case where I didn't play quite as heavily as some of the other events. And I also didn't drop my habitual $50 for the full loot box package. So I don't, there's a point in games where once I have enough good skins, it's actually very difficult to sell me on new skins, where I'm just like, yeah, these skins are cool, but I already had these other skins that were even cooler in my opinion. Why do I need to spend it on here? There does hit a point for me in video games where I stop going for cosmetics because I'm drowning in other cosmetics.
Is there actually a Genji skin that's cooler than that one? Come on.
I mean, we said that with Oni Genji, and then we said that with
this one's better than my opinion.
We said that about one of the Reinhardt skins, I think.
Reinhardt, I feel like there's a bunch of
Americree, man. Americree is my boy, but the Blackwatch one was pretty good.
Blackwatch.
So they're just getting better, and then you're I don't know, it's a dangerous game.
Well, the number 1 loot box item of all time was the American flag that I just equipped. Literally, I didn't unequip it at any point, not necessarily for seeing the Overwatch World Cup, but when it came to the voting, it did show your player icon on the voting page. So the fact that I was able to represent with the American flag there, it was a nice bonus.
Such a patriot. Such a patriot.
I tried to go the opposite route and swap. It's the top 500 icon. I was like, oh, you guys can keep your flags. I'm going to show them who's actually. And then it didn't update, though, in time, so I got pretty upset. But
okay, I
think I'm still using one of the Pachimari robots, so it's still a good keeper.
Favorite thing for me still is the D.Va highlight intro. Still, I think it's the best one in maybe the game. It's literally one of my favorite highlight intros of the game.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, the selfie. Such good.
Actually, I had a stream moment the other day where I was playing 76 and I was really, really feeling good. And the game ended and I got my play of the game, but then it was the Sombra one. So I'm starting to really appreciate the Sombra one now because it baits you into this false sense of happiness and then takes it away from you. I mean, it's kind of dreary and probably dark.
That
but
sounds like you, man.
I think that's why I appreciate that one too.
Right.
I'm just gonna throw that one out
What
there.
you're actually saying is that
That's
you
right.
enjoy the somber play the game intro because
Oh,
you're
man.
trolling someone where maybe they're playing a support hero that doesn't normally get play of the game. And then their eyes light up and they go, I finally got play of the game. And then they see Sombra, which is already adding salt to the wound because they lost to a Sombra in a pub game. So yeah, that is a little bit evil.
Debated. I felt
Debated. That's right. Totally. All right. Well, anyways, kudos to Blizzard for this event, and it'll be interesting to see what the next one is. If it's going to be matched up with a real life event, which I don't know. In 2 months, is there anything that matches up? It's a key for ZP right here. In 2 months, is there anything that matches up?
No, we're back to World Cup, but
we?
or Summer Games.
Yeah, it would be Summer Games again, most likely.
Well, so are they going to do summer games, given that there actually isn't the Olympics this year? You know, summer game especially.
Well,
so.
there's not the Olympics this year, but there's the Overwatch World Cup again this year. So
Yeah.
not that the World Cup and the Olympics are necessarily linked to begin with. They're two separate things, but the idea is something that goes on every 4 years.
That's okay. So that's an interesting discussion, or at least something to think about, is whether they'll actually have a summer games or they'll just make the summer game stuff available during that time frame.
Well, we're creeping up on the 1 year, right? It should be like this
it's
month.
like 3 weeks or something
2
like
weeks,
that,
I think.
right? Yeah. So you think they'll have an event for that, like a birthday event?
Something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
I'll be surprised if they don't.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the games in general, not just Blizzard games, but games across the whole spectrum are pretty big on anniversary events, so long as people are still logging in. Like, yeah, if everyone has quit your game by the 1 year anniversary, maybe you don't celebrate it because your game is dead. But
Right.
for a game that's clearly vibrantly alive like Overwatch, yeah, of course you got to expect some sort of event or not, or log in during this 3-day period to get another Bastion skin. I don't know. Something.
Just
Candles out for Evolve.
Yeah, candles out for another for a that's true.
What? I don't know what you're talking about, Flame. When I think of great payment models, I think of Evolve, where I want to pay $60 for a game and then unlock things and then pay for the season pass. I mean, the greatest thing for me about Evolve was just how much it evolved my spending on the game by taking all the money out of my wallet if I actually played the game, which thankfully I did not.
And it still makes less money than Overwatch, probably per user. So not the smartest model there. But yeah, we'll have to see. I think that'd be great if there's another event like so soon. I think that'd be a lot of fun for a lot of people, especially if there is another piece of new content like that's like the PvE accompanies it. But all right, so why don't we talk about World Cup now, given that these two guys are actually part of it. And for those of you wondering, I guess why we're talking about World Cup, it's because World Cup has moved into the second phase. Last week we hadn't quite gotten there yet because it started on Thursday, but we've gone from the country qualification phase to now the country committee voting phase. And so each of, depending on what country you live in, you log into worldcup.playoverwatch.com, and then it will bring up your country and then who the nominees for your country are. And I've already voted on this. So I don't know why that I've logged into this and now it says I still have 3 votes remaining. So, but this is what it looks like, guys. All right. Just to show you, I don't know what's going on here or what happened.
Do you have more than one account?
I mean, I have, my son has one account and he uses my other account.
So what you're saying is that you're contemplating voting on your son's account, disenfranchising him just to make your vote count twice.
No. I've already voted on this account. That's why I don't understand why I still have 3 votes remaining. So anyways, this is what it looks like. This is good for people that are brand new, and this is what it looks like. So you get to vote on 3 people because there are 3 members of the committees. And again, there's a different committee candidate list for each country. And of course, I'm in America, so we've got these 2 guys on here, as well as a list of others. There's 10 total candidates. And once you vote on them, I think by Thursday, you only have 1 week. There's a total of 1 week to vote for. So Thursday is going to end. So there's only 2 more days to vote. Get your votes in. But in the meantime, we're going to have these guys do their best, I guess, to lobby for your votes or to do their share of campaigning. So figured we put together a fun segment where, we have a little bit of a mini debate just since we had such an eventful campaigning season this last season here in the U.S. So, all right, you guys ready? I got a few questions for you guys. And how it's going to work is we're going to go snake style. So somebody will go first, and then they'll answer a question, and then the next person answers the same question, and then I'll have the next person go first and go back and forth. All right, sound good?
Works for me.
All right. So, all right, first question is we'll lead with ZP. How are you going to make America great again? In the scope of Overwatch, of course.
Well, I think the key thing is learning from the lessons of the 2016 team, where if you take a look at the weaknesses of the 2016 team, it was a team that did not practice well together to start with. It was not a team that got a lot of time together. So for me, my number one priority would be getting together a team where I can talk to every player and look, can you guys commit to play with each other in advance of the group stages, where I want the team to be on the same page. I want them to have good team chemistry. And I think you're only going to get that through a thorough tryout process. So I think by going by things in a much more structural way, I think you can build a much better team than what we had in 2016, just because you'll get players that work well together, want to practice with each other. And if you select well, you'll get players that really do care about the USA doing well this year, rather than just going, I guess I'm in.
All right. Good answer. Good answer. Flame, how about you? How are you going to make America great again?
Well, I mean, I don't really have like a speech prepared for this, but
No.
I think logistically my ideas are a little different. I think I'm not really focusing much on 2016's failures. I'm focusing on more of the scene in general and like how the current Overwatch structure is in terms of like how they pick players and how they do or don't practice, or their leadership qualities, or even their attributes that make them potential role models. Like, I think it's important to get a team that the players and the viewers can get behind, and like the fans of Overwatch, while also creating a team that's obviously very high skilled but still cohesive. And I think that there's a lot more to it than just skill and just like tryouts. Like, I'm down with tryouts, but I think that I would like preferably have like a core 4-ish that I knew that I wanted on the team regardless of tryouts, then maybe like use tryouts to figure out the other slots, because I do think that there's like not any value in bringing 6 people in and saying like, oh, we don't have any starting point. So
actually, I think that's a big mistake, because if you don't run tryouts, Flame, you're not going to be able to vet players that otherwise might have a chance of making the team. You would have to really go towards more players that are tournament proven in the recent time. Like, to give you an example, if you don't run tryouts, especially for as many slots as a core 4, here's the people that you're disenfranchising when you do that. There's potential talent at the very top of the ladder where maybe they would work out well in a potential team. We don't know. We have to try them out to figure that out. There's also the idea of players that have been out of tournament level play for half a year or more. You have your players like Seagull and Tailspin, where you can't really put them on the team right now without seeing if they can actually do well in a tournament environment, because they just haven't played in that long. So in fairness to those players, I think you have to let them prove themselves in a tried environment. Am I wrong?
I mean, I think that it's a liability thing. I personally, if it were me, I wouldn't care, right? Like, I wouldn't take I would just take the blame, you know, like, oh, okay, I picked this team and I'm standing by it. And if you guys don't like that, then whatever. As opposed to like, oh, I went through everybody and I gave them all a fair shot. And based on my statistics, I think that this player is better at this role at this current time. Like, I think it's more important for me to pick 6 people at the end of the day that I can work with, that are respectable, that I respect, that respect me or whoever's coaching, and that I know will like show up, commit, and have the drive to win, as opposed to like showing up in a tryout for a week. But there's a lot more to Overwatch than trying out for a couple of days.
Yeah, we're gonna get okay. Like, I want to keep with this debate
right,
structure.
well,
okay, not an open topic here, so I'm gonna go with Flame now in this next one. What do you think the people, the American people, want their team to be? Given that last year, you know, we had a little bit of mixture of, I would say, you know, some popular personalities, content makers, you know, just from an angle of getting some more exposure to the event. This year, what do you think the American people want?
In terms of
the team?
I mean, I guess in terms of the team, it's more important for me that I don't see it as like an exposure thing at the beginning. I think it's more, you create the team and then you let the team, like, you start making it around that. You start saying like, oh, okay, we have these 6 players. I want to market the team as this like cohesive group. I want them to be respectable. I want them to put out content that like the players can get around, maybe like put out vlogs and stuff. But I think it's important that the viewers understand like what practice is going into, or like how the players respond to things and who they are on a personal level. as opposed to just the player level.
So let me rephrase a little bit. Yeah, do you think that people want a purely competitive team that will just that is going to be built, don't really care about the popularity of these players and that whole marketing aspect of the players? All that matters is just winning this event?
Or do you think that that's my mentality? Okay. Is it's more important. I think it would be better. And I mean, right at the beginning of the day, or at the end of the day, if we start off the event and I pick a team, people are like, "How are you going to pick this team? I don't agree with this. I should have picked this guy." And then you lose. Like, what there is like, it's better, I think, if people are angry at the beginning and then really happy at the end. Like, you know what I mean? So it's, I know what you mean. It's more how you assess that or how you deal with that. Like, if I were to make a team that I personally thought was going to do well and then it did well, I think that'd be more important than picking what everybody wanted and then maybe it flopping because I took too much outside.
Okay.
Whatever.
ZP, what do the people want, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, they want a team that's going to win. I think it's clear to say that if you put together a team that, for whatever reason, is not very good at winning, and you go down to Brazil in the group stages, that's not what the people want. The people want to see the USA playing in November. Yes. And you're only going to get to play in November if you build a good team. So that's number one, is that you need a team that can win. Number two is that I do think that they want a fair and transparent process where I think that if you can show them, here's how the team is being built, here's the power of a committee system. And yes, you have empowered me as an expert, but I'm empowering you by showing you what goes into my decision-making. How am I putting these players on this team? And you give people a connection with the USA team before the 6 members are even chosen. You give them a connection afterwards, and you show them that this is why your votes were well placed, because I'm going to give you the best possible team available. And I think that's the approach that they want to see. I don't think they want to see something where it's sort of like, guys, we built a team and maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I think people would very much enjoy being part of a larger process. And not every country, I don't think, is going to do this, depending on who you get in there, especially if you have committees where the players are playing all the rest. But I think the USA is uniquely suited to be able to have an interactive experience, put together a very good team, and who knows where things land in November. If you build the right chemistry, I think we could surprise a lot of people in regards to just how far we go.
Okay, next, ZP, you mentioned this whole tryout. You know, you were making some very, very good points about, you know, why you should have tryouts and things like that. What type of tryouts are you talking about here? Are you talking about, okay, we've determined 5 people we want, and we're going to try out 1 person at a time just to try to fill the 6th role? Are we talking about, you know, Overwatch League Combine style where, you know, we get a chance to see how good they aim and things like that?
So my ideal trial process right now, and I've put quite a bit of thought into this, would be the idea of effectively having Team USA or A versus Team USA B versus Team USA C versus D. Basically, find the players that, looking throughout the community, where you look at them and go, this person could have what it takes to be in the final USA team. And then you run scrims where you have Team 1 versus Team 2. You run them against each other, and then you swap something up where you go, I felt like the DPS play from a player on Team 1 was really, really good, but the tank and support play from Team 2 was actually a bit better. What happens when we put that really good DPS player with the good tank and support players? And you can stream all this. You can make all this a public process as you go through and figure out what players are working with each other. Also, while the teams are playing with each other, you can be listening in on comms. You can let people hear the communication structures. So you can go, look, this Lucio right now is making amazing calls where even if we put him on a team that right now we feel is a little bit weaker skill-wise, the power of his shot calling is such that they're actually doing really well. They're winning games against a team that might be more individually skilled. There's so many parts that go into an Overwatch team in regards to this. And the part where you can basically play Puppet Master and turn them back and forth and see which team is going to be the best by switching players up, I think it's pretty exciting. And because you can run in this format, you can actually go through quite a few players from the different top USA teams, players that you might suspect would be good, but then you can verify before you actually put them on the team rather than committing way in advance.
All right, Flame, what do you think? Just assessment of players, and I mean, it could be anything. It could be assessment of their play, of their personalities, and everything.
This is my logic. I'm not living in tryout 14 world.
Okay.
I'm thinking more. I've watched NA Overwatch for the past year, like pretty in depth. I would say I have a good understanding personally of player personalities and maturity and public image and stuff. All these little factors that I think are important, and friendliness, just personability. Whatever, you know. So I think that I have like 4 maybe in my head that are like probably like set. Like I would think like, okay, I want these 4 people representing the country. I think that they're the best at their role based off what I've seen. And like I could go from there and just maybe do like 1 or 2 people tryouts like the normal team way.
So I'm going to challenge you a little